What happens when a small grant plants the seed for a much bigger community transformation? In this episode of the Engage Jeffco Podcast, we're heading up to Evergreen to find out. Last year, Evergreen Parks and Recreation District received $40,000 from Jefferson County's Youth Partnership Program, part of a one-time funding stream tied to the sale of the Denver Broncos in 2022. That initial investment helped grow a community-led effort to make upgrades to Buchanan Park, a 42-acre space in Evergreen that's becoming a flagship for inclusive, community-focused recreation. I sat down with Cory, Vander and Ann Morris from EPRD, along with Marc Vitelli from the Evergreen Skatepark Coalition, to talk about how far this project has come, the momentum it's generating, and why this park, and this process, matters so much to the people who call Evergreen home. From inclusive playgrounds to performance spaces to a new skate park, this is a story about community pride, creative vision, and what it means to invest in the next generation. Let's get into it. Cory and Marc, welcome to the Engage Jeffco Podcast. Thank you all for allowing me some of your time, and it's great to see you all again.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming up.
Thanks for having us.
So last year, we came up to Buchanan Park to do a video feature on the $40,000 grant that EPRD received from the Jeffco Youth Partnership Program. That was seed money back then. How have your fundraising efforts continued since then?
I'd say it's taken off, and I think it's been pretty exciting. That's been the momentum that we needed, and the community and has really come together. Staff have come together, and with the board, we've really taken this and it has led to some huge grants, from major statewide grants to federal grants, and now even local match partners and fundraising efforts. And so it's really kind of blossomed into this incredible community-driven effort, and we're starting to see stuff happen in the park.
Could you give me a high-level overview of what's happening now with the Buchanan Park Improvement Project?
So we are working on a park-wide master plan, and so we're getting into a lot of those finer, detailed scopes. So at the start of this, we really had this kind of overall plan, and now it's each one of these elements have started to really get to define scope, what they're going to be, how they're going to look, how do they interact with each other, and how does the overall park interact with itself, from parking to transportation to walkways. And so it's really getting kind of fine detailed in that sense. And so since then, we've really gotten into each one of these elements, from the trails to the gathering spaces, but also now these really defined elements that have really taken off with community momentum: the performance pavilion, the all-inclusive playground, and ultimately the awesome skate park. And so we've had a collective really started to get into design those elements, and it's been a very exciting process.
So this project kicked off in January 2024. Can you give me a timeline of some of the major milestones from that point until now?
Sure. So since then, we underwent a really in-depth strategic plan with our board and our community, had amazing outreach over a year process. And then our board adopted that strategic plan that really outlined all the future goals, future desires for the community. And then we came back to staff to really figure out how to pay for these and actually make these a reality. And so the board accepted and went through the certificates of participation process. So we had 6C, which was a bond that expired. And so we went back to the community to ask for permission to extend that bond. And that was 6C, which passed with overwhelmingly support of 70+% of the community that voted in favor of that, which then led to kind of that funding source. And that funding source was then leveraged with certificates of participation to ultimately pay for these. And so we took out, the board approved a $16 million COP that then would leverage the start funding from Jeffco, and then these grants that then now is defining each one of these projects. So that's some big milestones. I would argue we've had a ton of stakeholder meetings and check-ins with each one of these user groups: the Friends of group, the Skatepark Coalition, the playground stakeholder. And in addition to these park elements, there's also some other pathways, from a large pool expansion, from an aging pool that is over 50 years old that we're in process in this park as well, and also a gym field house indoor space, because we live in the mountains up here. These poor kids and participants get a lot of snow and weather. And so being able to have an indoor space is going to be a big piece. So kind of those are some of the big milestones, some of the big elements in this park.
And let me turn to you. What are some of the improvements that are being made to the park, and what's the timeline to get those improvements done?
We are at 100% schematic design.
on our aquatics expansion facility. So that one's really off and running. We're starting to get closer on pricing, and we're looking to break ground here in the spring. So that one's kind of off and running. And then we have a few other elements of the park, like the playground, which really highlights all-inclusive features so that people and children of all abilities can play together in the same place. And then we have the skate park, which we just released the request for proposal for last week on the 28th. So we're starting to get engaged on that one, trying to hire a professional services firm and start getting that on the books. The field house is a little bit further out, but that one's also progressing along.
And I would just add some additionals. We have an incredible parks team that's really engaging our, call it do it ourselves and save from that contractual, contractors are very expensive. And so our team's been very active. They've actually been starting on maintenance roads and replacement of some features in the park as well, replacing dugout fences. And so we're going to keep taking that methodology as we move forward on trying to save as much money as we can. And my staff joke, I say I'm a penny pincher and we make every penny count. And that's what we're trying to do is every dollar we're really trying to leverage and use the best we can. And so doing a lot of work in-house or in-kind from the community is really some of the big things, from trails, from these gathering spaces that are already off and going, and talked about a lot of the public processes and the timing on some of those features. But we have, tree work, we're doing garden expansions, we're doing some drainage stuff right now. And so we're really trying to kind of bite size each one of these. Next year we have about call it a 10-month construction window. And so we're going to start working on a lot of these in different pathways, but really starting when the weather permits next year. So
as a founding member of the Evergreen Skatepark Coalition, Marc, this project has to be close to your heart, but you're also a member of this community. Can you speak to how Evergreen Parks and Recreation has included the community in this project?
Sure. I think it's been a very collaborative process over the past year and a half or so, with public meetings and engaging with the community in regards specifically to the skate park and what the community would like to see in a new modern skate park. And I think it's exciting that we've kind of reached this goal. We met our goal for fundraising for the skate park, which is amazing. But I think what's even more incredible is just seeing the commitment from EPRD to create more family-oriented multi-use spaces. And I think as a longtime community member, that is incredibly exciting.
It seems as if this community has really coalesced behind this project. Why is it so important to you and your friends and your neighbors to have these recreational outlets in Evergreen?
I mean, first and foremost, we're a growing community and there's a lot of families up here. I still have one of my kids in the school system, so it's just important for me to have outlets for kids to do, things to do over the course of the year. And I think that, seeing the growth that this community has experienced, there's a need for more development of spaces that families can go to and do multiple disciplines and, let the kids run and burn energy.
There are a lot of different features to this project. You can maybe bring your kids to play at the inclusive playground while the parents take in some music at the pavilion. Do you envision these improvements making Buchanan Park a kind of community meeting space?
we do. And that's been kind of the design with all of these, is how do they interact with each other? How do they support each other? But bringing people together in this community is one of the greatest single things we get to do, through events to concerts to even just passive places and spaces. So, families, like you said, can come to the park, they can listen to a concert while one kid is on a skateboard or a scooter, while one is playing on the playground, while parents are sitting listening to music. Or, if it's a nice warm day, having a water feature in the park that the kids can go splash around and play in. And those youth, those teens can have safe places where they can interact with each other and be teens, give them safe places, but also just, that play, bringing play back to this community and getting them to this, crown jewel of this amazing park that's right in Evergreen is pretty special. And I think that's why there's been so much momentum from this community and support because of that vision, because of that, our ability to all work together and collaborate and have this shared vision of what this is going to be is pretty unique and pretty special. And I will say, I've been in Parks and Rec a long time, and, this Skatepark Coalition has been one of the best grassroots, one of the best motivated groups, and for some of the greatest reasons. I mean, kids don't always have a voice, and being able to have these kids participate. We just had a stakeholder meeting with the skate park, and there were 15 kids there that were truly, smiling from ear to ear and just expressing, I want a gap, and I was like, I don't even know what a gap is, buddy. But, they were just so passionate about their activity. And, it's not a team sport. It's something different that these kids get to engage in safely. But man, bringing people together is kind of that mission of what we're all here for. And this community is loving it. So, and we are too.
Speaking of those community partners, the Evergreen Skatepark Coalition is obviously one of them. What does being a community partner look like, and how many people are involved?
I mean, it's been an organic process, and people involved have kind of ebbed and flowed throughout the process. We did a bunch of grassroots fundraising over the past year, selling root beer floats and hot chocolates at concerts and other events at the lake house and here at Buchanan Park. And it's just different members of the community, family members always stepping up and, filling in where we need help and support, whether it's just communicating a message, engaging with the community, or helping to, sell some hot chocolate or some hats to raise funds for the skate park. So it's just been an incredibly fruitful process. And, the community is just very supportive of everything that's going on.
And what are some of the other community partners that have been able to help with this project, like the Blue Spruce Kiwanis Group?
Blue Spruce Kiwanis is our nonprofit partner who is engaged on the Inclusive Playground project. They're incredibly passionate about this work and have been really engaged in the fundraising side of it and really trying to make this happen and make it happen right for our children in this community. And particularly speaking to a study that was done in 2023 for the Colorado Healthy Kids study, we looked at the percent of kids who go outside to enjoy nature more than 1 hour a week. And Colorado was 10% of children. Jeffco was 7.2% of children. Then Evergreen was at 3.5% of children get outside for 1 hour a week. So we really want to try and encourage children to go outside and play and give them those safe, accessible places to get outside and explore.
And some of the other partners that have just been instrumental in this is, the Our Inspire program, which is a program to help kids with some special needs and interact with them in so many different activities. They've been a major partner in this, helping develop the playground and all inclusivity to that safe, accessible playground. Our Active for All is our EPRD foundation, which has been fantastic in helping raise funds, but also being, kind of that point where people can make donations. And so I'll do the one plug, I'm sorry, but if anybody's willing to donate or wants to be a part of this process, we have, the foundation you can donate to is tax deductible. We also have it on our website. We also are looking for major sponsors and partners to be a part of these elements, to, be naming rights and such. But so they've been a major partner. Jeffco Open Space has been a fantastic partner, and from trails to gathering spaces to interaction with, Elk Meadow and the RAD program that we're trying to get off the ground with them to bring in people to those outdoors, like Ann just said with those statistics. So really being able to engage with Jeffco in that. And then Hopstraw and the community nonprofits in this community are, just to name a few. We could probably stay here for 30 minutes and just tell you about all these amazing partners. And I'm sure I'm forgetting a few, but it's been pretty fantastic.
I was just about to ask how people can donate, so I guess I'll pivot to, where do fundraising efforts stand today, and what are the goals moving forward?
And I don't remember if we told you about our GoCo grant last year, but we've been very lucky to receive that GoCo lottery funds for Great Outdoors Colorado. And that's been a big momentum that's helped with several other small ones, from Gates Foundations to quite a few others. And so we're sitting at just over $1.2 million in grants. We just had a Friends of fundraising dinner that brought in some even more funding and fundraising. So we're making great strides. We still have some gap to fill. Yeah, we're sitting really successful in a lot of those grants of fundraising. The board's been very supportive. A lot of entities, Jeffco has been very supportive with some of those bigger grants. So we're looking really well. Now it's, like I said at the beginning, now it's defining each scope, getting contractors, getting contracts signed so that we can really kick these off. We can break ground. And so unfortunately, as costs and everything else go, we have to get down to those materials. And once we sign those contracts, we know exactly what these are going to cost. So we're kind of playing each one as they come at us and getting creative with, like I said, with our staff doing some of the work and grading and doing as much as we can to stretch those dollars. But it's been really successful, and we got to keep the momentum going and make these all a reality, because now we have a vision, we have promises, and we want to make it all happen.
I know we've kind of hammered this point already, but how proud are all of you in this community being that grassroots driving force? Marc, maybe you can speak to that.
I'm definitely proud to be part of this community and also proud to see the community rally around all of these initiatives that EPRD has in place to, develop Buchanan Park. It's a real special place. And I think since Buchanan Park does kind of sit in the heart of Evergreen, it makes sense for all of the work and development that's being planned around these 42 acres. So yeah, exciting times for sure.
I'm incredibly passionate to be here, incredibly happy and grateful. I'm entering my second month with the district, coming from a background in high-end ornamental residential construction. I'm very driven by impact, so attaining a job with an organization like Evergreen Park and Recreation District has been huge for me in aligning with the person that I want to be and the community that I want to be a part of. And just to see the community again rally around these projects has just been incredible to see the momentum involved and just how important park and recreation spaces are to me personally. From a mental health and well-being standpoint, I'm incredibly excited to give this back to the community and activate this park.
I'm so proud, and I can't even begin to tell you how proud it's being surrounded by great people, great team members, great community members that make all this a reality, that come every day, that are proud but passionate and are willing to do amazing, great work for this community for the right reasons. We're listening, we're doing the right things, and we see it. On a personal, I have 2 kids, and seeing them every day saying, "Oh, Dad, look at that, we're building that," or they laugh at me because I bring home a playground idea or bring home "Hey, we're doing this," and I always get their 2 cents of, "Hey, what do you think about this, buddy?" He's like, "That's pretty cool, bro." You get to see it through their eyes and their passion through their eyes, and that's what fills my cup. That's why I love coming every single day and love what we do, because we gotta have fun. We believe that slogan here at EPRD. We elevate your life, and we elevate everyone in this community's life. That's why it's a special place. People want to live here. That's why people want to play here. That's what I love. That's why I'm proud to get to do this work. And every day, I love it every day.
Yeah, I can definitely tell the passion coming through when you talk about this project. You talked about quality of life. This project kind of aims to build upon what you already have here in Evergreen. And one of your slogans is going from good to great. Why is it so important to a community to have these good recreational outlets?
I think it's a host of different reasons, but, people come up to the mountains, and we're so lucky to be so close to Denver, but we also are unique up here. People come up here because they're active, because they love to play, because, that well-being of who we are and being able to enjoy the moments and being able to be outside, being able to play with youth and see how they play and just have creative, innovative play through many different elements like skateboarding. I heard something awesome. They were like, "Yeah, we want to be able to have the flow of these features, and I can hit this and this." And that's creativity at its best. It's not just go up and down a ramp over and over and over, but they can go from ramp to ramp and they can do a trick. And then one of them said, it hit me hard because I was like, wow, I try and try. And he said, I try 100 different times. And that one time I get that trick, my face lights up and I'm proud and excited. And I think that's what we forget about sometimes. And so being able to tie it to those moments, and truly, how proud and excited we are in this community, but unique it is, so that's just a couple of my points.
And you talked about how parks and recreation spaces are so important for mental health. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we live in this age of information and technology and concrete structures. So I think it's so important to connect back with your human soul and to the nature and beauty around us. And that this is really what we're trying to deliver and activate in this community, those connection pieces to the landscape, to other people in the community. And it really just all kind of ties together to that element of the human spirit and really trying to nurture that.
Marc, the skate park is kind of your corner of this project. How will this project allow kids who may not be into organized sports be more active and have that sense of belonging?
There's a sense of belonging and creativity with skate parks, whether you're on a skateboard or a scooter or a bike. And it's really connecting with your peers in this element that is not necessarily team oriented, but your peers do rally around you and support you for trying tricks and falling and getting back up. But it's really just a gathering place for the community, primarily for the youth, but for the community to kind of get together and see just how creative you can become, because there's really no rules. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever you want to do. It's such an amazing setting here at Buchanan Park to have all of these initiatives happening. And it's really passing this appreciation that I think all the families have, passing it on to the next generation to make sure that they really understand and appreciate what we have here in Evergreen, because it's special.
And can you explain what a gap is?
I can. I try to keep my wheels on the ground these days, though.
Fair enough. I wanted to give you all the floor if you had any parting thoughts as we get out of here.
We talk about a lot of these passive areas, and we have an aging population as well here that are very active, but being able to give them trails. And there's a reason this park, sees over 260,000 people a year. It's because they're walking around. The community come out from their neighborhoods and can walk safely around trails. And, having a performance pavilion here is an absolute game changer for this community. When there's music and the way people come and support all these events and activities to support nonprofits in certain areas, but being able to have a space that's in this park that has this amazing performance pavilion that can draw in artists and local bands. And gosh, we were talking about, even just theater in the park, and being able to have that, small scale to large scale, but bringing people together, is such a kind of a lost, thing to get your neighbors together. And we saw it. We had summer concerts all summer, and they were free concerts, and we had over 2,000 people at each one of these. And it was your neighbors, it was your friends, it was just your kids in the same class. And the spirit that came along with that by bringing people together through events and being able to have a performance pavilion like that with a really nice stage, nice AV and lights, and really kind of bring that quality up, as you said, from good to great. That's where we can make this really great, and how all these elements tie in together, from water features to trails to safe, playground that's all inclusive, that can bring, a kid in a wheelchair with my 7-year-old crazy son that can play catch and sit on a swing, in an all-inclusive swing where they can rock and laugh and giggle together. Those are the interactions that mean so much. And so I just kind of bringing it all back around to what we're trying to do here in this vision of this park, this jewel of this community with all these elements is going to be pretty special. And we're so excited to break the ground. We're so excited for all our partners, our donors, everyone that's contributed to this, whether it's volunteer or donations, but then also the people that come to this, and we're going to make it great. And that's our promise to the community. We're surrounded by an amazing parks and administration team here at EPRD, and we're going to make this happen, and dang, every bit of this, we're going to make a reality.
I would just say thanks for the opportunity to allow us to kind of communicate and voice the process, from all the way from the Skatepark Coalition to the Friends of Buchanan Park to EPRD, because it's really been a team effort that has brought this together.
And I would just one special thank you, because, they're so impactful. Tom with Jefferson County Open Space is amazing collaborative leader that we always get to confide in, work with. But, I would give a big shout out to our commissioners. Leslie and Andy are fantastic. I was just having breakfast with Andy this morning, and he was asking about the park, and he was so engaged in this community. So I give a lot of credit to them being out here with their constituents, but just being able to support us. I give them a lot of credit for the great job they do with the county and being a commissioner too.
Again, thank you very much for allowing me some of your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Happy to share the word.
A big thank you to Cory, Ann, and Marc for taking their time to share their perspective, and for the incredible work that they're doing to bring this vision for Buchanan Park to life. As we heard, this project is about more than just new amenities. It's about giving kids a place to grow, connecting neighbors in meaningful ways, and creating a community space that reflects Evergreen's values. If you want to learn more, support the fundraising effort, or get involved in any way, we've included links to the Evergreen Parks and Recreation District and Evergreen Skatepark Coalition in the show notes. And as always, we'd love to hear from you too. Have an idea for a future episode? Know someone who's making a difference in your neighborhood? You can connect with us on social media or visit www.jeffco.us. And don't forget, Engage Jeffco is also a monthly newsletter. You can subscribe by using the link in the show notes and follow us online to stay in the loop. And if you like this episode, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and share it with someone in your community who might enjoy it too. Thanks for listening, and until next time, take care and keep looking out for one another, Jeffco.